So we're going to make a hoodie, and we're going to make a hoodie. We have to take into consideration the values, okay, of the necklines, the front and the back. So what we do is like we use half of the rectangle, and then we do a symmetric pattern of this rectangle. But for the measurements of the rectangles, we have to measure half of the front neckline and half of the back neckline. So we're going to go up to our edit pattern tool, and here this is 7.04. So 7.04, it's half here. And then we go to our back, the back here, this is 6.78. So when we add 6.78 and 7.04, we end up with 13.82. And 13.82, then it's going to be half, only half. So we're going to draw out the rectangle. We click on the rectangular tool. We're not going to draw it out. We're going to write in the values because 13.82. If you're not precise, for example, with the values, and maybe you make the length, it's a little longer, you're going to have gathering at the seam. So here we're going to begin by being precise with the measurements. So here we're going to click once, and we said the width is 13.82. Okay, and the height now, let's see. Height, of course, we can adjust it. 30. Let's see, 30. Okay. So here it is. We click on our select move tool here. This rectangular shape, we can sort of align it up. We double click for our gizmo, and we sort of align it up here at the side. So, okay, that height is good enough for now, and we can always adjust. So here would be the same measurement for the front and the back. And we're going to just click on the edit pattern tool. And of course, here I click on it, you see 13.82. So here we are okay. Now, we're going to have a symmetric pattern for this. But what we need to do is we need to shape this pattern. And there are many ways we can do it. Remember this part, if you know of course you know how a hood is shaped, and it's shaped like curved here in this way here. So you can really do many things. One thing you can do is you can here right click, and you could convert this to a curve point, and already it's shaping up. When you do this, you have this curvature here. You can edit it easily with the edit curve or the edit arc tool. Let's do Control Z, and we go back to the rectangle. Another thing you can do is you can go back up here to the edit curve, click on that arrow, and you can use the edit corner tool. And what it does, it curves this corner here. You left click, and you on this point here, left click on the point, and you drag it down like that. Okay, so you left click and you drag it like a down or diagonally, and here you can have it's called like a smooth curve. And with this smooth curve, you can adjust it because this smooth curve has 2 points, and there you can adjust it again with the edit arc tool, edit curve tool. You can really do fine adjustments with the edit arc tool. So there it depends on your preferences. Another thing we can do is, let's go back to Control Z, okay, is the important thing is you can take this, go to the edit pattern tool, take this point again, right click and just delete it. And when you delete it, you have a line. I'm going to go again. You just right click and you delete it. Now, if you do this, then you want to shape this into, you want it to become round. So go back up here, and here you can go to the edit arc tool where we can just shape it like this. You see, look at the movements up and down, and there you can begin shaping it. Of course, we're going to be adjusting it, but you can just begin shaping it like that. And here we have. So there it depends. Anyway, so there are different ways. So let's begin shaping it properly because eventually we need to sew this together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now take this and I'm going to do the symmetric pattern with seam. Now, when you want these pattern pieces in the 3D window near the avatar, you need to place it near the avatar in the 2D window. So here we're going to take the select move tool and we're going to place this very near the avatar here. Okay. Okay. Right there. Here we right click. Okay, nothing. Right click. Oh no. Okay. Let's go again. Okay. Right click. Okay. Something's wrong. Okay, right click and here we get symmetric pattern with seam and we put it over here. So you see that it ends up here very near the, in the same position. Now here we can begin sewing. What we can do is we can also, before we begin sewing, we can extend this curve because maybe already it may look small here. Look at that. Let's get it a little bit closer. Okay, well let's begin sewing. So you can choose to use your MN sewing tool or your free sewing tool. Anything you want. And you can sew it in the 2D window or the 3D window. If you sew it in the 3D window, you need to lift the pattern pieces a little because you need to get the curves, the points you need to understand. If you sew it in the 2D window, try to understand exactly what pieces you're sewing onto which pieces are sewing onto the other pieces. Now, here we'll begin. Let's begin with this one. So here, this is the pattern piece here. And we're going to be going here from right to left. Okay, right to left. So note this piece. Then here, for example, we're going to have to go from right to left. Okay, we're going to begin here in this part and we go up here. Then we go to the back where we're going to begin over here and end up here. So it can be a little confusing, but the important thing is to be sort of oriented as to the position. Let's go again. Okay, we take this piece because she's turned to this side here. We go from this part to this part. Okay, and then we can already begin. I'm going to use the free sewing tool because last time I did use the MN sewing tool in a previous video. So we're going to click on, we have the free sewing tool and we're going to begin. So we said we're going to go here to here. Hold on shift and then we're going to go to the front. So we're going to go here, okay? Check the 3D window. One click here. And then we're going to go to the back. So the back here would be, look, check the 3D window here and here. Double click and the sewing relationship has been developed. So let's see, the sewing relationship, the important thing is this half. The sewing relationship was developed on this half here. And because there is symmetry on this front garment, there is no symmetry on the back garment. Okay, I really didn't want to make the video too long, but I'd like to show you, I'm going to put symmetry on the back garment and to show you how this part is going to be attached here. So let's Control Z. Let's just undo. Okay, so we undid everything. And here what we're going to do, this is good to know. We're going to put symmetry here on the back garment because I had taken it off. I had merged the both pattern pieces together. So to do that, here we have our central point. So that's no big deal. And we have our central point here. We're going to go up to our pen tool and we're going to do like this. Double click and here we have our internal line. Next we go to our edit pattern tool, right click, and what we do is we cut and sew. So we cut and sew these two. Then we go to our select move tool, we click on this pattern, hold on shift, click on the other one, right click, and you see here apply symmetry with seam. This is the one I want. I want the symmetry with sewing, or you can even just apply the symmetry. But apply symmetry with seam, at least I'm sure I'm going to, if there are no glitches, I'm going to have the sewing relationships that I need. So symmetry is applied. I click here, you see the other one is highlighted. So now let's go back again and do what we were doing before. Here I would like to adjust the bodice, but if I simulate, these pattern pieces are going to fall. So do you remember what I'm supposed to do? You're supposed to freeze them. So I'm going to click on this, hold on shift, click on the other one, right click and freeze. So when I simulate to fix this bodice, nothing falls. Now you can do the sewing even with the pattern pieces frozen too. But I'm going to unfreeze them. I do right click and unfreeze. Now let's go again. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to use the free sewing tool and we're going to We started on this side before, and we're going to start again. So what we did was this. We clicked here once, and we went here. Hold down Shift. Now go to your front pattern piece. And here, follow in the 3D window. One click here, one click here. You see already the sewing relationship slowly being developed. And then we go to our back piece here. Make sure you see this little dot. One here, double click, and here. So now we see everything is okay. The front and the back. You see on the other pattern piece attached to the front and the back because we put symmetry on the back pattern piece. Now, here what we're going to do is we're going to start sewing. Here we've attached it to the necklines, the front and back necklines. Now we're going to sew these two pieces together. So we go to our segment sewing tool and we do like this. Okay, doesn't want to catch. Oh, okay, okay. Now let's simulate to see what happens. So here we have the beginning of a hood. It's small and we now need to do some adjustments. So here we'll select move tool. We note where here's the curved line, the curved part. Here is the front of the hood. So we need this hood a little wider. But we really don't want to change here the length of this. It depends. If you want gathering, then you can change the width here, the width. So what we can do is we can already start using here the edit arc or the edit curve tool. Let's use the edit curve tool a little bit, see what happens. Not the edit curve, but the edit arc, mind you. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna make it a little bigger here. And here you see things are starting to shape up a bit. We're gonna have to do some adjustments, but more or less you get the idea. We're gonna go again, edit arc. Let's leave the simulation there. Okay, we're gonna go like that. And there, okay. Now, if you want to also, you can also work on this part of the hood. Let's take off the simulation here. You can click on edit pattern and what we can do is this. We can take this point here and we can bring it forward. Okay? So we're bringing it forward, but we're not changing any measurements here. Let's simulate, see what happens. Okay, so you see the way this is brought forward. Another thing you can do is you work with this line here in the front. We can, of course, use the edit arc tool and we click here and we just pull it like, we go like that slightly. And here she's being covered a little bit better. So this is the basic hood, and you can make this hood slouchy. You could make it, you could do double hoods. We can style it in a way where we can put zippers in the middle, and we can check out all these things in the next video, in one of the later videos. Here we can do a lot of things. We can add different fabrics, top stitching, but I just wanted to show you the basic hood and the basic construction and the things you have to do in order to uh, the different ways you can create it. Here, for example, the front of the garment, if we want to edit the sewing, we can do like this. Click on the edit sewing tool. We can remove well, we can do it one of two ways. We can either remove the sewing relationship, or what we can do is this. We can take a point here, okay, left click on it, and we drag it down. You see, we're dragging this down, and this, okay, it's not working. Okay. And we're moving this point down. So moving down now, I'm eliminating the sewing relationship. I click on the other point and I'm going to move it into the same position. So if you see where this dot is, we move it right here. Let's simulate, and we've opened the front. So this is a way you can move the seams, okay, by clicking on the edit sewing tool, clicking here on the dots at the beginning of the seam and just dragging them down, making sure that you have to, if you do it on one side, you do it on the other side. So basically, this is it for the hood. See you in the next video.